Hello everyone, this is CY once again. Thanks for joining me. Today I'm going to show you the issue that you may have encountered if you purchase the DF54. So stay tuned and find out, right? So let's get started. Alright, so this grinder is purchased by my customer probably 2 months or maybe even less than 2 months, and he was telling me that the no coffee is coming out. So I have now opened this grinder, so let's see how bad the situation is. And normally for Singapore, I'm not speaking on behalf of the rest of the suppliers or dealers. If the issue of these faces, usually we will charge the customer for servicing. Yeah, because this is not due to the grinder's manufacturer's fault. It is not a manufacturing defect. Right? So this is induced by end user. So this is a disclaimer, but let's get started, right? So first of all, let's pop open everything, right? And before you can remove this collar, adjustment collar for the grind setting, you have to actually take out the grind indicator first, right? So let's remove the grind indicator. Don't forget to take it out, otherwise you will probably damage it, because this is screwed onto this aluminium you can call this funnel for the beans to go in, and it reaches the blades or the burrs that's inside, right? So let's take it out. The grinder should have the Allen key supplied, so you should have no problem getting the Allen key. Right, so let's take it out. It's a very simple screw and a plastic piece. Right, next, let's remove all the accessories. And then I can already see quite a bit of coffee ground that's inside. Right, but let's not vacuum out anything. Let's just see what actually happens inside here. So let me adjust the camera to give you a better view. Right, so let's take out, unscrew the collar. Alright, so the collar has been removed. You can see that there are already coffee ground actually stuck at the side. So all this has to be cleaned out before you screw this back. Otherwise, you risk actually causing your grind setting adjustment ring to be jammed. Right, there's a possibility. Right, so let's take out the burrs, the top burr. Right, and it's actually not too bad, and I think it's probably the clumper that's inside that was actually choking. So first of all, let me use a vacuum cleaner to remove all the coffee ground that's inside here. So you need a powerful vacuum cleaner, right? So to get the job done. So in the shop we use a commercial one, which is very powerful. And it's going to get a little bit noisy, so just bear with us, right? Let me attach the power cable. And now I like to use a brush to brush the grinder so that it remove all the remaining coffee ground that's stuck in between. So that inside there's no more coffee ground that's inside there. And if you are using a very powerful vacuum, please make sure that your cushion, the rubber cushion here, didn't get sucked away into the vacuum, right? And that's hell of a problem when you try to take it out, right? So now Let's try to use a longer Allen key to try to remove the choking in the chute itself, right? So I'm going to poke it inside. Oh, you can see, the moment I poke it inside, you can see that the coffee is already coming out. So before you do it, let me take a different angle. Maybe I'll tilt the grinder for you to see the inside here. Okay, the cable is a little bit short, so let me try to remove. By the way, having said that, my grinder that I use daily, my DF54, has never choked even once. I think it's all due to improper usage. And then, okay, let's take a look. Okay, it's actually not too bad. I can't really see the choking. So let me just use a Allen key to try to remove the remaining coffee ground that's stuck inside there. Oh, there's quite a bit of coffee. So this is what you can do at home, right? Don't worry, you will not damage the machine, right? Just don't poke too hard inside. Okay, it actually has been cleared already. So you can see how much coffee is there. And then you can see that the exit chute there, there's actually coffee there as well. So now let's vacuum it up. And then let's clean up your, the collar, which is your grind adjustment ring. And then we try to grease it back, and then okay, this is what you can do. Okay, so basically I believe it has been unclogged. So the only way to test it to see is to put new beans in and see whether it grinds properly, right? So let's clean up the rest of the burrs and also the grind adjustment ring, and then put some grease back, and then we see how it works. Visually, I can see some of the stubborn coffee ground that's stuck there. So let's just brush it out. Make sure everything is clean. And make sure that the inner ring whereby the thread is clean of all the coffee beans. If not, later when you screw it back, eventually it will damage the thread. And then these are all aluminum, which is very soft. It will cause even more wear. So let's just clean it out. Make sure that the side is cleaned out as well. Right, and then get a piece of tissue paper. Right, just make sure that it's remove all the remaining, you can see how dirty it is at the side. If you can use a toothbrush, that will be even better. This brush is a little too soft, right? But it still do the job, right? Just that I have to push it nearer to give it a more stiffer, make it stiffer so that it can actually brush off the coffee powder. Okay, same thing goes for the inside here. Let's clean it out first. You can see how dirty it is. And then let's just clean it out. Make sure that inside has no coffee ground. And people wonder why we need to charge for these services, because it takes time to do all this, right? If you have seen this video in the future, right, you can do it yourself and you don't have to send the grinder down for servicing, right? Okay, so get a new piece of tissue paper and then let's clean it again. I mean, we need time to do this, and we also need some materials. So charging the customer is only fair. Right, can see how dirty it is. Right, let's use the vacuum cleaner again. Okay, lastly, let's put the grinder back. There's no way you can actually install this grinder in the wrong way, because there's actually a hole here for your grind indicator. So this is definitely facing the 6 o'clock position. So there's no way you can forget the position. So this is a good thing. All right, so let's just clean out the remaining grease that's on this thing here. All right, so now we will put some food grade grease, right, over to the inner ring. Right, you can see there's still a little bit of coffee there. Okay, yeah, let's try to do our best to clean off all the coffee powder. Right, this will make your grinder last longer to prevent unnecessary wear on the thread. So it's clean, right? So now let's apply a layer of grease. This has to be food grade, and food grade grease are not cheap. So hence, therefore, the reason we charge. And we are very generous with the grease. Alright, so this is done. So I will wipe off the remaining grease that's on the side. It has to be food grade, right? Don't use other type of grease, right? Because you do not want to ingest non-food grade stuff inside your body. Right, so now let's close back the ring. It should be fairly easy, right? Unlike the DF64 Gen 1, you have to press it down. Now this grinder, you don't have to. Just slowly turn it. It should be able to lock it back easily, right? Okay, let me track whether the power is on. Yes, the power is on. So the moment I on it, there may be still some coffee bean coffee ground that's coming out. Right, you can see that it doesn't have anything, which means we have to clean the grinder thoroughly, right? Okay, we want to find the 0 point to make sure that it is still there. So let's turn on the grinder. Gently rotate your grind adjustment ring. Can you hear that? So this is still probably a good place. So the alignment didn't run. So now let's install the plastic piece of grind indicator back. And then let's move on to the last part, which is testing the grinder to see whether coffee actually comes out from there. And don't over tighten this. Just finger tight will be enough, right? If it ever come loose, just tighten it a little bit so that it doesn't damage the thread, because this is actually screwing to the, this aluminum piece at the center. All right, so now let's install the empty popcorn bag, the bellow, and then now let's test for coffee. So the test is very simple. I'm going to do an espresso grind, and then I'm going to do a filtered grind. So if both comes out with minimal retention, right, then it should be good to be returned to the customer, right? So first, usually for espresso, I will grind around 15. Right, so I will put some beans inside just to fill up the gaps, and all these gaps is going to take up a little bit of coffee, which is if you want to check your consistency, whether the output is the same as your input, and the first try is always not accurate, because there's some coffee that's always like to fill up the gaps. So the first one, we'll just throw some beans inside. Let me see whether we have some roasted beans around. We should have. Let me see. Do I have open bags? Let's see. Yes, we do have. Right, so I'm going to throw a few bins inside. Okay, let's install the rubber. Put back the catch cup. Okay, coffee is coming out. Make sure you bellow. Right, it's important to bellow every time to make sure that most of the coffees are out. If you don't do this step, eventually it's going to fill your exit chute, and then it's going to clog up again. But don't worry, if you have seen, this video is there to help you. Right, so now we want to check to make sure that the retention is almost to zero. Right, so let's do that. So for this, I will probably just use 10 grams of coffee. Oh. Okay, 9.9 grams of coffee. So let's see whether the output is also 9.9 grams, right? So usually I like to do a hot feed. If you do not want to have a lot of static, even though this one comes with a plasma ionizer, but then it's always good to just spray a little bit of water, right? For this amount of beans, I'll just go give a scoot and then shake it, right? 9.9, so I make sure I zero this. Right, I have a second one, so open. Bellow, off the power. Let's check the retention, right? 9.8. So there's a 0.1 grams of retention that's inside. Let's bellow a little bit harder. Turn on the grinder. Right, let's check again. Right, 9.9, 9.8 to 9.9. So I will say that this is pretty close. So I'm going to do one more, which is the core setting. This is my carving setting, which is almost at 80. Right, this is and I like the filter coffee to be at around 80 as well. So let's do another 10 grams of coffee. Right, 10 grams this time, exactly. Okay, so zero that. Again, a squirt of water, shake it up. Okay, let's measure the output. It's 10.1, so the remaining, okay, it's 10, back to 10 grams. So you can see there's a zero retention on this grinder after we service it. Right, so as you can see, servicing of the grinder, such a DF series kind of grinder, is not difficult. It is actually very easy. You can definitely do it by yourself. Just be careful, don't drop your ring, which will adjust your coffee, because the moment you drop it, it's aluminum. If you drop it, it gets dented. You will not be able to screw back to your main body, and that is going to be very costly to replace, right? So this is CY once again. Thanks for joining. I hope you find this video useful, and do consider subscribing to our channels so that our video can be shown to more people that may be considering getting this grinder or may have already been using this grinder and facing the same issue. So thanks for joining. Stay safe. I'll see you in the next video.